What's up, everyone? This is the Dynasty Coaches podcast. I'm your host, as always, Coach Dylan, along with Coach Nick and Coach Charlie. What's up, guys?
How we
Hey,
doing?
everybody.
Man, it's been a crazy week so far. We got NFL free agency going on right now, so lots to talk about right now. So we're gonna go over all of that, all the signings, and then we are going to start our rookie profiles for the year. Get you guys ready for the upcoming draft. So we'll go ahead and get into it here. We'll start with the quarterback news. Start with the big elephant in the room here. Deshaun Watson. The Houston Texans have accepted the offers of the Atlanta Falcons, Cleveland Browns, Carolina Panthers, and New Orleans Saints. Now it's just up to Deshaun Watson on where he wants to go. Where do you guys think he goes?
Well, right now, gun ahead, I think he probably goes to the Falcons. It kind of seems like in the past few hours they sort of jumped ahead of the pack. Watson just finished talking with them, and he actually talked with them in Atlanta as opposed to the other ones where he talked to them in Houston. So it kind of seems like if he was willing to make the trip to Atlanta to speak with the Falcons representatives, it would indicate that the interest is pretty serious on both ends. And they certainly have the picks, and they could probably throw in a couple players as well to get a deal done. As to whether the Falcons have the best all-around team, that's debatable. I think a team like the Saints or the Panthers would probably be better for all-around talent to pair with Watson, but I think right now the Falcons are the front runner.
Yeah, so I agree in aspects. So for me, if I'm Deshaun Watson, right, looking at it from his perspective, I'm looking at the teams and I go, who is a quarterback away from the Super Bowl? And for me, I think that's New Orleans. Now, again, I'm a homer. Obviously, you see my jersey here. I'm a homer, but I think that the Saints have been a quarterback away for 2 seasons because I love Drew Brees, and I know I'm going to get some Drew hate on this, but his last season that wasn't Brees, right? Same thing with Manning's last season. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl, but he won it on the back of that defense and all the other players that made it happen. So 2 years this team has been one quarterback away, a Deshaun Watson for crying out loud, away from really truly making that push to the Super Bowl. So for me, as a homer, it's New Orleans. As a statistician thinking it in a business sense, I think it's going to be either New Orleans. It's hard because you just don't know what they're going to have to give up to get him. Same thing with Atlanta. I don't know what kind of players they're going to have to get up and who will be around when the dust all settles. I just don't know.
I hear you. I just don't know how New Orleans affords them with their cap space. They're big time in the hole, so I think he probably goes to either Atlanta or Cleveland. I think the best weapons to throw to is Carolina, but we'll see. I like the fact that he'd be thrown to DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall. So, but next news item here: Mitchell Trubisky is the new Steelers quarterback. They're keeping the guy that they signed last year. Help me out here, guys.
They had Haskins, right?
Dwayne Haskins. I'm sorry, Dwayne Haskins. They tendered him, so he will be there. But is this a competition, or does Trubisky take over?
I think it's Trubisky. Yeah, I think it's Trubisky's team to lose on this one. I think one thing that they were sorely lacking last year was athleticism at the QB position. I think they were sorely missing mobility at the QB position, someone to move outside the pocket and get things going and make defenses have to check down and keep an eye on him. And Trubisky's capable of it. Has he done it at high levels? Not always, but he is capable. He has shown he is capable of being a mobile quarterback, or at least more mobile than the geriatric Big Ben. And then they went and they fixed a lot of their offensive line problems and free agency. I know they haven't had quite as loud as a free agent offseason as the Broncos, good sir, have, but they have had a very, very quiet and very, very good offseason as far as acquiring talent and fixing some of the issues on their O-line.
Yeah, I'm also inclined to agree with Nick. Trubisky wouldn't have gone to the Steelers if he wasn't going to start, because the report was that his choice was down to the Giants and the Steelers, and he picked Pittsburgh because he knew he was going to be the starting quarterback going into camp. And like you said, they've made some moves to shore up the protection. I believe they signed James Daniels to be a starting guard, and I think he's criminally underrated. He was a great guard in his time in Chicago, and he's only 25, so his best football's ahead of him. And they've also made some other moves here and there to just shore up the roster in general. And coming into the offseason, Pittsburgh has said that they wanted to improve the athleticism because Big Ben was just a statue for those last few years of his career, and it was painful to watch. So having someone who can move around in the pocket and keep plays alive and make things happen, I think it's something the Steelers have been lacking for a long time. It's going to be a new look offense, something I'm actually really looking forward to watching this coming season.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to best case scenario. I think he's probably the best free agent quarterback out there. But I like it better than the Jimmy Garoppolo trade. Mitch Trubisky wasn't bad in Chicago. He put up stats. It was more of a coaching issue with Matt Nagy, I think. So I think that Mike Tomlin's going to get the best out of Mitchell Trubisky, and we'll see what happens. But plus, he's got some pretty damn good weapons to throw to there. So, also, I heard a lot of complaining about possibility of Najee Harris not getting enough volume to sustain what he did this last year. Trubisky threw to Tariq Cohen like crazy whenever he was with Chicago, so I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. So, Tom Brady unretires. I think this kind of pissed off everybody but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, is he still fantasy relevant? I mean, put up some great numbers last year.
Just when I thought he was out of my life, he has to come back. I was so happy. I was thrilled. Tom Brady is freaking gone, and I don't have to hear any more about him. And I was pumped, and now he's back. But, yeah, he's still fantasy relevant. Chris Godwin, franchise tag, he's coming back to Tampa Bay. Gronk's like he's coming back to Tampa Bay. Mike Evans is still there. He's got the weapons. They just brought in Russell Gage as well, who I think is a sneaky good wide receiver. Definitely a great number 3 option. So Brady's going to have the guys to throw to. And, he showed last year that he still has the arm talent to get the job done. So I don't see why he wouldn't be, a QB1 for at least one more year like he was last year.
Yeah, I knew that Charlie was going to have an opinion about Tom Brady coming back. I was just waiting for that.
It's just for you. So
yeah, well, after my outburst about Aaron Rodgers in the last few, I figured let you have your moment there with TB12. But no, I wasn't honestly not that surprised. I kind of had a feeling that was coming up. What I have been really surprised by, though, actually, is a lot of the news outlets have been saying that, yeah, he's back, but they don't know if he's going to be back for Tampa Bay. I don't know. I think that if he comes back and he plays for Tampa again, I don't see why he would try to go anywhere else or how he would go anywhere else. He has all the talent in the world, like Charlie said a second ago. They have everything that you could ask for. Especially for an older quarterback, and he's good with this team. He's fluid with this team. He's proven he can go out even at his advanced age, is what I'm going to call it, and still put up, 40 touchdowns, 30 touchdowns, something like that, just nuts. So I don't think he goes anywhere else, and I think he's going to have another, unfortunately, very good season.
I don't think he does either, and he's actually somebody that I would definitely try to trade for if you're a contender, because people are going to be looking to get rid of him because of the uncertainty that he's had this season. So definitely go after him. But a couple things, they don't have their running back, so they got to go out. I wonder if this brings back Fournette because he's still out there. And then I wonder if this brings back Gronk also. So I know Gronk's been saying he would like to play with a couple other teams, but his man crush is back now. So you got to think he's going back to Tampa Bay.
The bromance.
Yep. Yeah. So then last piece, Teddy Bridgewater gets signed by the Dolphins. Do you think that he is going to be the number 2 for sure, or is he going to be able to have a chance to compete with Tua?
No way.
He's just that Tua. They've already committed to him so much, and Mike McDaniel says he's really looking forward to work with him and in developing schemes to improve his game, focus it on his strengths to make him better. Why back away from them after all they've been through already? It just doesn't make any sense.
I agree. You know what you have with Bridgewater. Tua, you're still trying to unravel him and see what he has. He's still young.
I like the signing though. I really do.
Yeah, I am back it. Just
I saw this, but Raheem Mostert signed with Miami tonight.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into the running backs here now. We'll start with that. Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert have signed with the Dolphins. I think this pretty much says Myles Gaskins is gone. But I think these are good signings for him.
Sorry, I was muted. My dog's having a moment. I like Gaskin. It's hard for me. I liked him a lot. I thought. Yeah, I'm a bow out. Let Charlie have this one.
I don't know. I think it's good for Edmonds. I guess if I had to pick somebody, because he is getting paid start money. I think he's getting like 14 mil over 2 years or somewhere around that range. And we know his game. He can do a bit of everything. He's a good pass catcher. He can run between the tackles. We saw him do it in Arizona in a limited role, filled in admirably when James Conner wasn't able to play. And Raheem Mostert's more of just a speed guy who doesn't really do too much out of the backfield as a pass catcher. So I think the more well-rounded game of Edmonds is going to serve the Cardinals better than Raheem Mostert's skill set, I think.
I think I agree with that, but Raheem Mostert has a lot of ties to McDaniel.
That's why.
So from San Francisco. So I think that could play a big role in it. So, but moving on here, Jaguars release Carlos Hyde. Now, is this going to be something where Travis Etienne is just going to take off, or do you guys still expect them to sign somebody?
I mean, it depends. I think they're going to sign somebody to back him up just because you're not going to take essentially what is a rookie, right? Because he was injured that the whole first season, especially coming off of that injury. You're not going to put all your eggs in one basket. So they'll sign a vet to back him up, a Mark Ingram, Latavius Murray type of person who can be back there for a little bit to fill in if he needs him to. But I think it just indicates that this is now Etienne's team.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree as well. And especially considering that James Robinson is going to be out for a stretch of games and Etienne's coming off an injury himself, it's not just going to be him in that backfield. Whether it's, a veteran presence that they bring in free agency to kind of fill in, or if they draft a rookie in, the mid-later rounds to, fill in and, relieve some of the burden, I suppose. They're going to bring somebody into that backfield.
Yeah, they're going to need to, because I've also heard rumors that Laviska Shenault is on the trading block. So I know that he was one that, takes a couple rushing attempts every game or so. So I think Etienne's got the ability and the athleticism to be a bell cow. But like you said, we just don't know. He's hurt all last year, so we don't know what he's going to be yet. So they got to figure that out. James Conner stays with Arizona. Signed another contract with him. With them. He put up some pretty damn good numbers last year. So they got a good team. They are definitely a playoff team, I believe. So I think that he top 15 running back this year.
I would say yes, but not towards the front of that, towards the back end of that. Yeah. I do think it will be the bell cow. But usually there'll be some backup, I think, that will take, some share of maybe some pass catch here and there and stuff like that. Not that James Conner can't do that, but that seemed to be the system they were comfortable running in Arizona. We saw that Chase Edmonds was kind of taking away some of the touches for Conner last year. So I think someone might do that on a bit of a lesser scale. But it's
like they have Benjamin, right?
Right, yeah. I believe he's the only other one there. They might ask somebody else later. But As far as I'm concerned, he's the bell cow. He should be an RB1 for fantasy, but I don't think he's a top 10 running back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he's top 10 for sure. Not top 10. Top 15 even makes me a little uncomfortable. You're talking about a team that has Zach Ertz and D-Hop on it. So I don't know if you're going to hit that top 10 for sure. Top 15 even makes me a little nervous. But he's very good. He's very, very talented. He showed that in Pittsburgh, and then he showed it again last season. So I think they got a great signing. I think they picked out their man between the two that they had facing free agency, and they locked up the right one.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd rather have Connor than Edmonds. Definitely, I think that he's shown that if he can stay healthy, he's a better back. Even this year in Pittsburgh or whatever, without Le'Veon Bell, he was pretty good. So I think that they made the right decision. Speaking of right decisions, this is a wrong decision, I believe. J.D. McKissick going back to the Commanders. It kills Antonio Gibson. Finally, we thought Antonio Gibson was going to finally be top 10 back for sure. I don't think so anymore. What do you guys think?
That was a crusher. When I saw that first report that he was going to go to the Bills, I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, Antonio Gibson finally free.
Yep.
RB1 top 10 running back Antonio Gibson. And then we get the report that McKissick is coming back. And I was like, why? Why'd you have to do that?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
A cap on his pass catching, which is frustrating because we know Antonio Gibson is a quality pass catcher out of the backfield. He can do it all. So why are you bringing in J.D. McKissick? I just don't think it's necessary, and it pisses me the hell off.
No, tell me how you really feel. But I agree, right? I wasn't quite as high on Gibson and his play last season. I guess I just wasn't really paying attention to the Commanders team as a whole. But yeah, you bring in a player like that, it really does put a damper on a talent and a supreme talent at that. So it was kind of upsetting to be able to not see that star rise as much as it's now not going to be able to.
I get that. I don't get why the Commanders don't feel that Antonio Gibson can be a pass catching running back. He was wide receiver in college. I mean, that's what he was known for doing. He was not a running back at all. So I don't get why they continue to go out and sign McKissick and pass catching running back to take touches away from him. Plus, he hasn't been – it's not like he's been hurt a ton in his career. So that's not something that they need to worry about. But hopefully it doesn't kill him too much here. Hopefully he can still be a productive running back. Deonta Foreman to the Panthers. Is this a move because they believe that they're going to get Deshaun Watson, which in turn would probably send Christian McCaffrey to the Houston Texans? Or is it to secure a backup? Does this hurt Chuba Hubbard? What do you guys think?
So I don't know if you're going to lose CMC. He's kind of the staple on that team, but we'll play the game, right? Okay, CMC is gone. Chuba Hubbard steps up, which we have all on this show have discussed that Chuba is a great talent and an amazing running back. So is it going to hurt him? Yeah, it's absolutely going to hurt him. Do I think it's going to tank him? No. He'll still be putting up some massive numbers next year, especially in the absence of CMC if he ends up getting dealt in that trade. Now, assuming CMC remains and now you have all three of them, yeah, I don't think Chuba sees the field much on that category, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree because this seems like a move just to shore up the backfield and have some extra insurance because we do know about McCaffrey's injury history. So in case something happens, I guess they would feel comfortable in a 1-2 punch of Hubbard and Foreman. Because we saw what Chuba Hubbard could do last year, and he was very productive when you saw his time on the field. So I think they're just playing it safe. And in the event McCaffrey does get again, they have two perfectly capable running backs because we've seen what they both can do, and they both can put up numbers and be productive for their respective teams when they're on the field. So either way, they're just making sure they're set at running back for the coming season.
Yeah. If they trade McCaffrey, I think that's a great move. bringing somebody that can that's shown that he can be a damn good running back in this league. He put up a lot of good numbers with Tennessee last year in the absence of Derrick Henry. But they don't trade Chris McCaffrey. It's too many mouths to feed right now. So, and McCaffrey is still going to get the bulk of the work because it's Christian McCaffrey. So, sharing 30% of the work with Chuba Hubbard is not going to be great for either one of them. So, moving on to the wide receivers, we'll start with this one. Are you guys into the Were you guys into the WWF whenever you were young?
No.
Not
No.
All right. There was just a thing called the Montreal Screwjob. Bret the Hitman Hart got screwed by Shawn Michaels out of the world title. All right, scratch that here. I believe I created the Jacksonville Screwjob. Okay, let me explain here. Christian Kirk goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is now going to be the third highest paid wide receiver in the league.
Might be second. Julio got cut.
Might be second.
But yeah,
that move right there just screwed the Green Bay Packers. Okay? Because Devontae Adams has said, I'm not playing under the franchise tag.
Right.
They're going to have to pay him so much because he is so much better than Christian Kirk is. Christian Kirk just blew up the wide receiver market. Do you guys feel the same?
Yeah, I mean, Adams already declined the $27 million a year offer.
Yep.
At this rate, he's going to want 35. He's going to want close to $40 million. It would not.
Exactly. Before, I think that they probably could have gotten him for 28, 29 maybe.
Yeah, not anymore.
Nope.
What the hell are the Jaguars thinking?
Yeah.
They have money to spend, and why the hell not? I mean, I don't know. I love every second of it.
Zay Jones is getting $10 million a year.
Exactly. They have money to spend, and they spend it on Christian Kirk.
It's true. It's true, especially with players like Allen Robinson out there. Yeah. Exactly.
Ugh.
I don't know. Personally, I love every second of it because it's just I hate that franchise in the Packers. So it's just more money they have to pay to try to retain him. And the fact that if he doesn't come back, if they're not able to lock up Adams, I think that Rodgers does one of his oop-doos, and especially now that he has all the money guaranteed, he's just gonna I'll kick it and then take my man bun and retire. So I love every second of it personally, just because I hate Packers. So.
It's rough because you still had DJ Chark out there, and I would much rather take DJ Chark over Christian Kirk. That's just my opinion, but
I agree.
They let a better wide receiver walk, and then gave more money to the worst wide receiver. So I don't know. Sterling Shepard restructures his contract to stay with the Giants. Charlie, we'll start with you. How do you feel about that?
Well, I like it. Shepard, longest tenured member of the Giants, actually, which is kind of sad because that's one been there for 7 years. So speaks lack of success in the Dave Gettleman tenure, but he's a nice veteran presence. He's a guy that Daniel Jones trusts and can work with really well. So as long as Sterling Shepard is able to stay on the field, I like it because you're reducing his cap hit by a significant amount, and you're keeping a weapon very, very well because Shepard works really well out of the slot. He used on the outside. He has multiple skill sets, so I think that's a good move by the Giants because it's essentially Daniel Jones make it or break a year, so you don't want to be cutting his weapons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then they go and they sign Tyrod to back him up, which just kind of indicates to you that hey, you've got about 5 games to prove to us that you're the quarterback, or we're going to switch to the known, and stable vet there behind you. So even if you end up switching out midway and you got Tyrod there, you're going to need someone for him to throw the ball to him. Like Charlie was pointing out earlier, man, they haven't had a tight end there worth anything for a long time. So they go ahead and take care of those 2 things and give your guys somebody to throw the ball to no matter who it is.
Yep. I agree. Like you said, it's not the time to be cutting weapons there. You got to give Daniel Jones every opportunity here if you're going to bank on him for your future. So keep him there. Amari Cooper gets traded to the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, that almost made me vomit in my mouth just saying it. All the talk about Baker Mayfield getting traded, who is going to throw to him?
If it's not Deshaun Watson, then I don't want to know. If it's not Deshaun Watson, I don't want to know because I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
It's going to be Jameis Winston.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I don't know. I don't know who's going to be throwing the ball to him either, right? So say they don't get Watson and then they still proceed with trading Baker. I don't know who the heck's going to throw to him. I think you make moves like that and the Browns kind of become that old shipyard of a team that they used to be, right? Where players go to just kind of end their careers. I don't know. But if you get Watson, then shoot, it's a brilliant move.
Yeah, if you get Watson, cool. Yeah, I'm all in for it. But they need to, if they get rid of Baker, they need to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo.
I agree. I mean, they gave up it was late round picks for Cooper. I thought he was severely undervalued in that trade. I thought they got a pretty good steal actually. So
yeah,
I think that the Dallas Cowboys need to get him off the team. I don't know.
A third or a fourth in trade negotiations. So getting him for just a couple later picks is pretty good.
Yeah.
Considering we know what Amari Cooper can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna have to. I mean, Amari Cooper is one of the best in the. I don't want to say one of the best in the league. He's definitely top 20 in the league, I think. So it just kills his value completely if he's the only one there, and there's nobody throwing it to him. So, moving on, DJ Chark and Josh Reynolds back with the Lions. Does this? What do you think this does for fantasy wise, and does it help Jared Goff?
For fantasy, I still think that is TJ Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift and nobody else. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown showed out a little bit at the end of last year, but again, that was because of the fact that Hawkinson and Swift were both out. So I think that Jared Goff, if he's still going to be there, is comfortable with his two main guys, and now he's just going to kind of continue throwing to them because they're a safety blanket, essentially. And maybe now that Chark and Reynolds are there, it provides more opportunities for Amon-Ra, or it gives Chark some opportunities. But just right now, I'm not of that mindset. Until we've seen him on the field, I'm not going to make a judgment. So I'm going to kind of status quo.
Yeah, I think that Amon-Ra is probably a low end number 2 wide receiver, whereas Chark is probably a mid low end wide receiver number 3, and then Reynolds probably is flex at best. Reynolds, one thing I'll say about Reynolds is he has the rapport with Goff from their days in LA, so he could be something. So we will see. Nick, did you have an opinion on DJ Chark or Josh Reynolds?
Nah, it's another one of those situations where I hate the person that is thrown to them, and I agree with Charlie. I think it's the Hawkinson and Swift show, and I don't really care for anybody else on the team. I
agree. Jarvis Landry cut by the Browns. It's probably him and Allen Robinson are probably the head of the wide receiver market right now. I've heard he might be going to the Bears. I've heard he might be going to Atlanta. Where would you guys like to see him go?
That's tough. It'd be cool if Washington goes there. But the Bears with I don't know, with Justin Fields being there and all, I'm not 100% sold on the how much of a high-powered offense that's going to be.
You know, I like Justin Fields. I actually was really excited watching him play. So, that one's hard. That one's tough.
I'm right there with you. I like Justin Fields too. I just traded for him in one of my big dynasty leagues, and I would love for Landry to go there. It's
Yeah.
definitely a safety blanket for sure. Somebody that catches majority of his targets thrown his way. So my only thing is hopefully he can stay healthy. He's been battling the injury bug the last couple of years, so stay healthy, and I would love to see him go to the Bears. Michael Gallup resigns with Dallas. Uh, he's definitely the number 2 now because you have Mari Cooper out and Cedric Wilson is just signed with the Dolphins. So, um, is it Michael Gallup to the moon with his opportunity here, or do you guys still have some reservations?
Well, I think he's certainly going to see a boost to maybe wide receiver 2 territory, high 3, because the Dallas offense has shown it can support 2 top wide receivers. Cooper and Lamb have excelled together.
Yeah.
Last couple seasons since Lamb has been drafted, and obviously with Cooper gone, top two receivers are CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, and they're going to try to focus as much as they can. Whether they succeed or not is a different story on CeeDee Lamb, so that's going to free up Michael Gallup for a high percentage of opportunities, which I think he's going to cash in on.
Yeah, I agree. I think Gallup's going to have a great season. I am very, very high on CeeDee Lamb, especially with Cooper out, but I think Gallup's going to have a really, really good season this year. I think the opportunity is there, and I think he's shown he can capitalize on his chances, and I think, to the moon. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I like this signing a lot better than them bringing back Amari Cooper. Not just for the fact that Cooper and Dak didn't necessarily get along towards the end there, but Gallup's younger. He's about ready to enter his prime, I believe, whereas Cooper might have already hit it and be on the downhill. So I definitely like that signing. Last bit of for the wide receiver, Cedric Wilson to the Dolphins. Cedric Wilson was one of those guys that came out of nowhere last year. And he was really good for the Cowboys. Do you guys think that he continues with that with the Dolphins, or is it kind of just a kind of move?
He can be productive, but I don't think he's going to be anything more than maybe an occasional flex. Because right now they obviously have Jalen Waddle, Devon Parker still there. They franchise tag Mike Gesicki. So those are 3 guys right there that I think are going to see a lot more opportunities and targets than someone like Cedric Wilson might. So he's going to be kind of relegated to that 3rd or 4th option that he's been in Dallas. And while he did take advantage of some of those opportunities in Dallas, they didn't necessarily relate to high-end fantasy production. It's just a guy that I think on every occasion, if you need to, you can plug him in and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good move. I like Waddle there. I think bringing him in is just going to help him excel. And then, like we said, you got Gesicki signed now too. So I think it's going to be a good move for him. I think you're going to see him have some good production and give somebody more for Tua to look to.
Yeah, I think it's for fantasy-wise, I think it's probably a better move for best ball leagues because he's going to have his weeks where he blows up, but then he's going to have his weeks where he puts up a 0. I think so. But moving on to the tight ends here, that's all for wide receivers. Tight ends, biggest news so far, Zach Ertz resigns with Arizona. Ertz, really good for them down the stretch, second half of the season. Does that continue? And it surprised me because it's a 3-year deal. And I don't know if Zach Ertz has 3 years left in him. He's getting up there in age. So what do you guys think?
I think it was a show of faith contract for the Cards. He came over midseason and didn't skip a beat. I mean, he jumped right in, like you said, was extremely productive for them, especially down the stretch. So I think that was a show of faith move for the GMs there in Arizona to say, hey, man, this is how much we believe in you once you come back and show us that our faith is true. And I think he's going to do just that. I think he still has a lot of ball left in him, and I'm excited to see him play.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Zach Ertz was he played well in the games that he was in with the Cardinals last year, and they seemed to like what he had. He worked well with Kyler Murray, so bringing him back for 3 years, like you said, Nick, is a very large commitment. And I think he's going to be a productive tight end. He might even have a chance to finish as a top 10 tight end when all is said and done, especially considering that we all know that tight end is not the strongest position for fantasy. And Zach Ertz has shown that he can be an elite tight end. We saw what he was able to do with the Eagles for that long stretch of time. So I don't see why he couldn't do that again in a high offense in there.
I think he's definitely a top 10 tight end. I think that for the sheer fact that the tight ends are not that great, not a whole lot of good ones. So I think he's definitely a top 10 in all formats. CJ Uzama and Tyler Conklin signed with the Jets. I don't know. Is this just they're trying to get Zach Wilson as many weapons as they can, or I mean, are they both going to be fantasy relevant? I mean, it's the Jets, so.
When was the last time the Jets had a fantasy relevant tight end?
I agree.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Never.
Mm-hmm.
And they traded away, I think, Chris Herndon, who was like probably in most recent memory the most, I guess, successful tight end they've had. Mm. And I guess they're bringing in these guys just as extra targets, big body guys and good in the red zone for Zach Wilson to throw to. But I don't think they're going to be really relevant fantasy wise. I guess maybe Uzoma would be an occasional plug and play guy, like a tight end 2 maybe. But I don't have any hopes for Tyler Conklin fantasy wise. But on another note, I do say this is great for Irv Smith because Tyler Conklin's out of Minnesota. So long as Irv Smith's healthy, I love him to be a tight end 1 this year.
For me, I don't think anything feels better to a young quarterback, especially a developing quarterback, than a strong tight end who he can rely on and count on. And I think that's kind of maybe the move that Saleh's making is, hey, let's give this kid a security blanket, a check down, somebody he can kind of look to and hold to, and I think that's what the move is. I totally agree. I don't think they're going to blow anybody out of the water, especially the latter. Conklin's not gonna. Yeah, he's a name on a roster as far as I'm concerned. Zuma is gonna be a plug and play guy. When you have an injury or you have a bye week, you need to put somebody in, or depending on the matchup that he's facing, you plug in him for a week at a time. But I don't think he's going to be constantly plugged into your roster, game in and game out.
Yeah, I agree. I like Zuma better than Conklin, but I do agree with you, Charlie. On I think Irv Smith is probably a big breakout now with Conklin gone. So, moving on here, Mo Alley Cox stays with the Colts. Kind of big news because Jack Doyle is now retired. So, Mo Alley Cox might be getting majority of the tight end targets. We just need to figure out who's going to be throwing those tight end targets. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just about to say it all depends on who's throwing him the football when it's all said and done. Because the Colts still need to either sign somebody or swing a trade. It could be someone like a Jimmy Garoppolo. It could be a Derek Carr. If it's a guy we've had some faith in the past who's been productive. Like if it's Derek Carr, I love Mo Alley Cox. I think Mo Alley Cox would be a great tight end pickup for your teams. But if it's somebody maybe say like Marcus Mariota, then I might be a little less inclined to trust Mo Alley Cox for fantasy.
I'll be honest, and I said it before the show, and I'll say it now just because I try to be as honest as possible. I had forgotten that Mo Alley Cox was even a football player until we kind of reviewed what was going on here. So that's kind of where I'm at with his fantasy relevance. I forgot he was even still playing. I mean, he's kind of, not to throw this Juju name out there, but it's like Todd Gurley. Like where did he go? Who's he? That's what happened with Mo Alley Cox with me. So I'm really hopeful, that he has some relevance here. But again, it all kind of depends on who's throwing the ball to him.
I agree. I think if they go out and get like a Jimmy Garoppolo, or if possibly Baker Mayfield goes there, Mayfield has been good for his tight ends. So I think that might be a move that helps him out. But other than that, he's bye week replacement is best. I don't think he's going to have a whole lot of fantasy relevance. So last news for the tight ends, Ricky Seals-Jones was just signed by the Giants. Right now, he's the only tight end, I believe, that's there, if I remember right. So what do you guys think?
Well, I'm of the expectation that the Giants are going to devote some type of draft capital to the tight end position. So I don't think it's going to end up being just Ricky Seals-Jones. But that being said, I think they're going to have the veteran presence guy who's produced in the past be the week one starter. Capable guy like Seals Jones, who produced, in the time that he was needed last year when Logan Thomas was out for Washington. Yep. He showed that he was able to catch the ball. I remember a great game against the Giants in week 2, I think. He's a guy who can be an able-bodied red zone threat, and that's something the Giants have been sorely lacking for a while because Evan Ingram was basically a glorified slot wide receiver. He wasn't really a tight end. And Kyle Rudolph was well past his prime. But Ricky Seals-Jones, he's only 27. I think he's still got some life left in him. And he could be, a productive guy for Daniel Jones to throw the ball to. More of like a bye week replacement guy, though, still. I don't think he's anything like a starter.
Yeah, this goes back to what I was saying with Zach Wilson. Nothing feels better to a quarterback who's possibly struggling than a good, consistent tight end. So I think that's what the talent brings in. I think and again, it kind of goes back to our discussion earlier about Sterling Shepard, is they're going to give him every chance and every opportunity and every weapon around that quarterback to be able to say when they do cut him or do decide to move on from him that, hey, we gave him every chance under the sun, gave him all the players we could get him to prove. So I think this is a byfactor of that, unfortunately, for Ricky Seals Jr. So I agree. I don't think he's going to be a starter, but he'll be a good plug-and-play guy depending on the matchups and if you have bye weeks or injuries.
Yeah, he's definitely going to just be a bye-week guy. He's not going to have much fantasy relevance apart from that. Maybe a couple weeks of good matchups. Might be able to plug him in there, but nothing else. Breaking news here. The Buccaneers have reached a deal with Chris Godwin. He's no longer playing under the franchise tag. 3 years, $60 million with $40 million guaranteed. So
that's literally identical to Mike Williams' contract.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So
I think Chris Godwin's a way better player than Mike Williams.
Well, by far, definitely more consistent.
I thought he would have gotten more than that.
Yeah.
Good for Tampa to get him on, was comparatively cheap, I guess.
Yeah.
I wonder if TB12 was a factor in the fact that he didn't take as much money as he probably could have.
Yeah. Maybe. I would definitely take a pay cut to be able to possibly win another Super Bowl. So, but just another couple defensive guys. Raiders extend Max Crosby. Bears trade Khalil Mack to the Chargers. AFC West is going to be stacked.
Yeah. Also, the Raiders just signed Chandler Jones today, too.
That is true. The Raiders just signed Chandler Jones and Von Miller to the Bills. So
poor Russell Wilson. He goes to the AFC West, and now he's going to be under pressure by all these elite pass rushers.
Yeah. Broncos need to get him a line bad. bad. So, and the AFC West is going to be so fun. I cannot wait. So
literally every week there's going to be an AFC West primetime game. It's going to be such a fun division.
Yeah. So that's it for the free agency right now. Do we miss anybody? Do you guys know?
I think we just about covered it.
All right. Let's go and move on to our first rookie breakdown. This week we're going to do Christian Watson, wide receiver out of North Dakota State. He was the combine darling. With these rookie profiles, I want to kind of do the lesser known guys. I mean, a lot of podcasts are doing the Breece Halls, the bigger name guys. I want to try to go after the maybe not so well known guys. Get you guys ready for those guys. But college stats: he played 52 games, had 105 receptions, over 2,000 yards, 20.4 yards per catch. That's pretty damn good. And then 14 receiving touchdowns. But he was also a big factor in the running game. 49 rushing attempts, 392 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Finished with 2.95 college fantasy points per game. So that's actually pretty good. Physical attributes: 6'4", 208, 32.5 arm size, and 10 1/8 hand size. Whenever you guys look at him, what do you guys think? Do you think he's going to be a good NFL player?
He certainly seems like he has the skill set to succeed because he's he's got the speed to stretch defenses, and he's also got the big body to go up and be physical. And he's got the hands to, he has a good catch radius, so he can go up and get those 50-50 balls that QBs throw to him. And he was great in the combine. The cornerbacks who had to cover him at the combine actually voted him as the player of the week. I guess he was that much of a challenge for them, and all the different drills and the little mini games and stuff that he did. And if he can get on a team that's in need of a wide receiver 2 or even a wide receiver 3, I think he can have a great deal of success.
Yeah, I was watching this kid's highlights, and he is an absolute monster. He really is. The kid's a beast. I mean, 6'4", you said 208, and he still runs, I think, what was it, unofficial 4.28, official 4.31. Like, that's just nuts. And I'm sitting there watching his highlights, and now it could be the color scheme, but I'm like, man, that kid's out there just balling, looking. He runs routes nice and crisp. He gets away from people, like you said. His yards after the catch is just nuts. The kid's got so much open field speed that a team that runs an end around or any of those types of plays, I mean, forget about it. He is so fast.
Yeah, I agree. I have him as at a 4.36, but that right there led the class at his position. So, vertical jump of 38.5 inches, 5th in the class, and then the broad jump was 136 inches. So that also led the class. So combine darling, I think that it probably translates pretty good into the NFL. It's probably going to depend on his quarterback. I think if he gets a good quarterback, I think this kid could probably be in the running for offensive rookie of the year. But as far as team fits, I think he would be great with the Chicago Bears or the Philadelphia Eagles. They both kind of need that red zone threat. Mooney is not really a red zone threat guy for Chicago. So being 6'4", you're going to have the height advantage every single time on the quarterback. Quarterbacks usually 6 foot or smaller. So, but then a great guy to be opposite of Devonta Smith in Philadelphia, I think. So,
yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah,
you guys have other team fits?
Philadelphia myself. Actually, he could be a sneaky fit for the Cleveland Browns, especially after cutting Jarvis Landry. They're going to want somebody to put with Amari Cooper and I guess Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think will kind of be that field stretcher that they need. A deep threat who can, test the defenses, and that kind of would open up the middle of the field for Cooper and Peoples-Jones. He can be a guy to go up and get it great in the red zone. So I think that would be a good fit for a Browns offense. That I think personally could use some weapons.
Yeah, I agree with you, Manny, full-heartedly. And a lot of the question about this kid is do teams want to risk a first-round pick to get this kid, right? Because he initially started out in thirds and the second rounds, middle second rounds, high second round. Now he's just been flying up people's draft boards since the combine. So our team is going to want to risk a first-round pick on him when there's other players possibly around him that are better known and have more of a talent showcase. Now for the Eagles, if I correct, they have at least two first-round picks this year coming around right after each other.
Yep, they got it in the Carson Wentz trade, I think.
Yeah, exactly, because the Colts didn't make the playoffs and the Eagles did, so they got that first rounder from them. So I think if there's a team who's going to be a bit more prone to taking a risk on him in a first round, it's going to be a team that has multiple picks to do so. So I think the Eagles are a great fit, and it's a need for him. I think it would be a great scheme for him to go to.
Yeah, I think that he's definitely going to be a first round pick. You see it every year. Team players that weren't a high big name commodity go into the NFL Combine, have a great NFL Combine, and then skyrocket into that first round. NFL teams definitely take the NFL Combine to be kind of a predictor of NFL success, I think. So I think he definitely goes in that first round. I comp him to DJ Chark. NFL, you can look at the NFL Combine here. Watson, 40-yard dash was 4.36. I had him at. Chark had a 40-yard dash of 4.34. Vertical jump, Chark had a 40-inch. He has Watson has a 38.5. Broad jump, Watson had a 36-inch broad jump, and Chark had a 129-inch. Both were within a couple points for college fantasy production. Both are 6'4". Chark is a little bit lighter, but I think that's going to be similar play styles even. Chark is pretty good about going up and getting contested footballs. So can be that red zone threat. So do you guys have anybody else that you guys think he compares to?
Yeah, every time I saw him take an end around, man, I thought of Cordell Patterson and I thought of Deebo Samuel watching that kid run. He is just so fast in open space.
Yep.
And then his hands, though, every time he saw the hands, I'm sitting like, good Lord, that's like Michael Thomas in the 2 years ago hands. Everything that touched the kid, he was catching it. And it was, yeah. That's the three names that kind of came to my head just watching the kid play. Now, obviously, he's not a Michael Thomas by any means yet, but yeah, his speed is just nuts. His hands are great.
He actually makes me think of a former Giants wide receiver that I kind of wish was on the team longer. Plexico Burress, a very big physical guy. Who whenever I was watching, no matter where he threw the ball, if it was even close to him, he'd find a way to go and get it. And I think that Christian Watson is just like that. And they both have the speed to test defenses on the top, and they had the physicality to go up and pretty much just about get anything. So that's what I thought of.
Yeah, Nick, you're right. Whenever you look at his tape, he catches everything. I mean, it's not just the highlights. If you go and look at just his gameplay tape, he does not drop anything. He's a vacuum whenever it comes to securing the catch. So he's gonna make some team very, very good at wide receiver, and I think he's gonna have instant success. I don't think this is a case where it's gonna take him a year. I in no way, shape, or form think he's gonna be a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase coming out of college in his rookie year, but Devonta Smith, maybe a Jalen Waddle type guy with that success, I definitely think that's very attainable for him. So
yeah. I saw a funny tweet about him saying that as a Houston fan, he is hoping Houston would draft him and give him number 4 so they didn't have to trade out any of their jerseys.
That is true. That is very true.
Nice.
Anything else you guys want to mention about him really quick before we wrap it up?
It's a freak. I really look forward to watching him play.
Yeah.
He's going to be a beast.
I just hope he gets put into a good situation with a good QB because I want to see this kid succeed. He looks freaking name.
Exactly. How did you guys feel about him going to New York Jets and being the 1B to Elijah Moore?
I like it. I like Zach Wilson though. He kind of grew on me towards the end of the season last year, and I think Salah's got something going there. So you bring in the 2 tight ends, you bring in this kid in a draft. I like it. I'd like it. I'd be okay with it.
I could see it. He kind of be like the big guy to Elijah Moore's small guy. So I kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just sitting here and I just popped in my head. I actually think that'd be a great fit. I think what they're trying to do in New York, you got to get your quarterback a weapon, another weapon, and you bring in the tight ends for the safety blankets. You have Michael Carter there. Elijah Moore is kind of your gadget wide receiver. Why not bring in a guy that's going to be a mismatch to anybody that's covering him? So, but I think that's going to wrap it up. Here, let me make sure there's no breaking news here. Just got an update. No, it's just Godwin news. So, as always, you can reach us at our Twitter handles. I'm at dmeany9688. You guys want to go ahead?
I'm at @FF_Chuck V.
And I am at InLapthorn.
Website's back up, so we're going to be having articles written. I know I just wrote an article that you guys can check out. We're going to be writing group articles on this week was players to buy if you're contending. So a couple of us pitched in on that one, but we got a bunch of them coming up. My article this week was on the running back and what kind of goes into what goes into making a rookie running back successful. If you want to check us out more, we're also on YouTube. The website is www.fantasycoaches.com. Other than that, I think that's it. Have a good week, guys, and we will see you guys next week.
Have a good night, everybody.
Tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next week.